My radiant soul, something shifts around you even as you listen to these words. A stirring, a trembling, a movement in the unseen, because tonight, a divine alert hath been sent straight from the throne of heaven. Archangel Michael is trying to reach you, not through dreams, not through whispers, but through this very message. He is sounding an alarm, and the heavens are echoing with urgency. The title you clicked on was not random, it was a call, a spiritual knock, a divine intersection. Archangel Michael is trying to alert you. This will happen in your house tonight. Just 5 minutes, be prepared. These words found you because something is about to unfold in the place where you sleep, breathe, and pray. Tonight, in the quiet corners of your home, a shift will begin. A shaking, a cleansing, a revelation that cannot be delayed anymore. And Michael, the warrior of light, steps forward for one reason: to prepare your spirit before the moment arrives. Some of you have been sensing this, a tension in the air, a silent pressure around your chest, a strange heaviness in your room at night, or sudden chills as if someone walked through you. None of this was random. Heaven has been positioning you, warning you, aligning you. Michael has been trying to alert you. And now the message is finally reaching your ears. Listen very carefully, because the next few minutes hold a revelation that will not only prepare you but protect you. There is something that has been trying to move through your house, a shadow, a residue, an energy that did not come from God. It has been hovering at the edges of your peace, slipping through the cracks of your thoughts, trying to plant confusion, fear, doubt, and spiritual exhaustion. You've been feeling worn out for no logical reason. You've been waking up at odd hours. You've been hearing things, sensing things, noticing the atmosphere shift without understanding why. Archangel Michael saw it before you did, and tonight he steps in. But before the intervention comes, he needs your awareness. He needs your spirit awake and your discernment sharp. Because in the next 5 minutes, something will be revealed, not to scare you, but to empower you. Something will be exposed. Something will be broken. Something will be lifted off your house for good. Beloved, your home is about to receive a divine visitation. And as Michael stands at the doorway of your atmosphere, sword lit with celestial fire, he speaks a message through the realms. Prepare yourself. The shift begins tonight. You may feel chills right now. You may feel heat moving through your hands. You may feel your heartbeat intensify. This is confirmation. He is here. He is clearing the unseen corners of your home. He is removing what tried to attach to you. He is breaking the patterns that formed in the shadows. He is confronting the energies that tried to drain your strength. But before he completes his work, you must hear this truth. For weeks, the spiritual world around you has been in motion. Your prayers, even the silent ones, were not ignored. Your tears, especially the ones you never spoke about, were heard. There was a request you made to God that was never spoken with your mouth, but was screamed by your soul. Heaven has been responding to that cry. Tonight is the answer. This is why you are listening now. This is why you couldn't scroll past. This is why this message found you at this exact moment. Michael is aligning your home with divine order. He is pushing back a spiritual interruption. He is sealing your space with holy fire. But beloved, something in your house will shift tonight. A sound, a movement, a sudden stillness, a presence leaving, a presence entering. Do not be afraid when it happens. It is heaven doing what heaven promised. Stay alert, stay awakened, and stay connected to this message, because the revelation that follows will open a deeper truth about what has been happening around you. Before you move to what comes next, pause. Feel the atmosphere. Feel the alignment beginning. And remember, hold on. What unfolds after this is the part you absolutely cannot miss. My chosen heart, as the atmosphere around you continues to shift, there is something deeper that Archangel Michael wants you to understand. What will happen in your house tonight is not merely an event. It is a spiritual rearrangement, a divine correction, a holy interruption sent to restore what has been quietly stolen from you. For far too long, something in your environment has been out of alignment with your destiny. This imbalance did not appear suddenly. It formed slowly, quietly, through moments of emotional depletion, unspoken frustration, lingering sadness, and hidden spiritual fatigue. Heaven has watched the subtle erosion of your peace. Tonight marks the moment where this erosion stops. Michael stands with intention. His presence tonight is not symbolic, it is purposeful. He is preparing to disrupt a cycle that has looped in your house for months. Some of you have felt it like an invisible weight on your chest when you wake up. Others have sensed it as sudden arguments, unexplained tension, anxiety spikes, or moments where your mind felt clouded for no reason. This is because your home has absorbed energies that were never meant to stay. Some entered through people, some through emotions, some through unspoken pain. But no matter how they got in, they do not get to remain after tonight. Michael's alert is not about fear. It is about freedom. Heaven has been observing the spiritual traffic around your home. There have been days where your spirit felt strong but your atmosphere felt heavy. There were nights you slept for hours but woke up tired. There were moments you walked into your own room and felt disconnected from yourself. These were not coincidences. Something has been attempting to occupy space in your life without your permission. It has been trying to influence your thoughts, your mood, your energy, and even your dreams. Archangel Michael is stepping in because that influence ends tonight. There is a moment coming, only minutes long, when your house will undergo a spiritual cleansing. It will not be loud, but it will be undeniable. For some, it may feel like a cold breeze passing through a still room. For others, it might feel like a sudden emotional release, a heaviness lifting off your chest, or a moment where the air feels clearer, lighter, purer. Some may even feel a sudden warmth, as if someone placed a gentle hand on your back. This is the moment Michael prepares you for. It is the moment the atmosphere unlocks, the chains break, and the spiritual residue dissolves. Tonight, your home becomes a battlefield where victory is already assured. Michael is not coming to fight. He is coming to finish what has already been decreed over your life. The darkness that lingered at the edges of your peace is losing its grip. The confusion that tried to wrap around your thoughts is unraveling. The spiritual fog that clouded your judgment is clearing. Heaven is reclaiming your atmosphere because your destiny requires a space where divine clarity can breathe. What will happen tonight is necessary. It is a breakthrough disguised as a moment. It is a cleansing disguised as a shift. It is protection disguised as a warning. And that is why the alert came with urgency. That is why the title called out to you. That is why your spirit could not ignore it. When Archangel Michael sends an alert, it is never about panic. It is always about preparation. Heaven never alarms without the intention to align. You are being positioned for a new spiritual chapter. But before that chapter begins, everything in your house that contradicts your divine purpose must be removed. You may notice tonight that certain thoughts suddenly lose their power. You may notice a sense of clarity returning. You may notice that a lingering fear evaporates. When this happens, remember that Archangel Michael told you to be prepared. Remember that heaven warned you because heaven is with you. There are also things you have been praying for that cannot enter a space contaminated with old energies. This cleansing makes room for new blessings. It makes room for divine guidance. It makes room for your next season. What enters your home after tonight will be different. The spiritual climate will not be the same. Your rest will not be the same. Your emotional stability will not be the same. Your dreams will not be the same. Everything begins to realign once heaven steps into the room. This is why Michael has been trying to alert you. You are on the edge of a breakthrough so transformative that the forces that once clung to your atmosphere are losing the right to remain. And as the night unfolds, remember this truth. You were never unprotected. You were never forgotten. You were never overlooked. Heaven has been surrounding your house long before you realized what was happening. Tonight is simply the unveiling, a shift, a clearing, the beginning of what you have quietly needed for a long time. Stay with this message. This is only the surface. The next revelation will uncover what has been trying to resist your spiritual elevation. Pace your breath, steady your spirit, and prepare yourself. The next moments will bring the clarity your soul has been longing for. Hold your attention here, because the unfolding becomes even more revealing from this point on. Type "I welcome the shift" in the comments if your spirit feels this message. Blessing code 555 is now released over your home. My awakened one, as the divine atmosphere continues to rise around you, Archangel Michael draws even closer. His presence is no longer at the edge of your awareness. It is now standing within the threshold of your home. The alert you received was not only a warning, but an invitation into a deeper revelation. What will happen in your house tonight is connected to something that has been quietly forming in the spiritual realm, and now it must be addressed. For too long, you have been carrying burdens that were never yours to carry. You have been fighting internal storms that were never meant for your spirit. You have been absorbing energies from people, memories, and moments that left fingerprints on your emotions. Yet heaven says that ends tonight. Archangel Michael is revealing a truth that many overlook. Your home remembers what your heart tries to forget. Every unhealed wound, every unspoken fear, every silent disappointment leaves a trace in your atmosphere. These traces stack up over time like layers of dust, unseen but heavy. They distort your clarity, weaken your energy, and make you question yourself in moments when you should be standing confident. Heaven has watched these layers form around you like a fog, and tonight, that fog is being burned away. You may wonder why Michael chose this night, this moment, this exact season of your life. It is because you have reached a spiritual turning point. Something divine is approaching your life, something that cannot enter until the old weight is cleared out. Michael is alerting you not out of fear, but because the timing is precise. The spiritual alignment around you is shifting like the turning of a great wheel. Heaven has been preparing to deliver something you prayed for, something you cried for, something you hoped for even in moments when hope felt thin. But before this blessing arrives, the spiritual debris must be removed. Tonight, a spiritual exchange will take place in your house. What leaves will not return. What breaks will not be rebuilt. What dissolves will never rise again. Michael stands as the guardian of this moment. He is sweeping through your atmosphere with a sword that cuts through emotional residue, spiritual interference, and invisible entanglements. Some of you may notice a sudden emotional clarity tonight, as if a veil lifts from your mind. Some may experience a moment of deep peace settling over your home like a soft blanket. Others may feel a sudden release in their chest, a breath you didn't know you were holding finally exhaling. These signs are not random. They are evidence that heaven is working. Michael wants you to know that what tried to disturb your home was never stronger than the power assigned to protect you. You were never isolated. You were never uncovered. Even in your most vulnerable moments, angelic forces stood watch. Yet there are times when divine intervention must step forward visibly, because the shift required is too great to happen silently. Tonight is one of those moments. Something in your house has been feeding off your uncertainty, your emotional openings, your unspoken frustrations. Not a creature, not a being, but an energy, a residue, a lingering spiritual imprint. It hath been trying to influence your mood, disrupt your sleep, and create tension in your relationships. But Archangel Michael speaks with finality. Its time is over. What enters your home after tonight will be peace. What fills your space will be clarity. What surrounds you will be divine order. You may also notice that something in you is awakening. A deeper awareness, a sharper intuition, a sudden ability to sense things that were previously hidden. This is because the moment Michael begins his intervention, your spiritual senses rise with him. You are being prepared not only for cleansing but for elevation. Your spirit is being tuned to heaven's frequency. Your awareness is being aligned with divine truth. This is why you felt drawn to this message with such intensity. Your spirit recognized the voice behind the words long before your mind processed the meaning. But hear this carefully. What happens in the next moments is not just cleansing, it is commissioning. You are being pulled into a new spiritual identity, a version of you that is more aware, more stable, more aligned than you have ever been. Michael is not only clearing your house, he is strengthening your spirit. He is building you for what comes next. Stay with this message. Every word is preparing your atmosphere. Every line is awakening your inner sight. Every moment is aligning you with the shift that heaven has declared over your life. You are standing in a divine transition, and the next revelation will expose what has been hindering your spiritual rise. Hold on. What comes next will bring the clarity your soul has been crying out for. Type "I stand with Michael" in the comments if this message is speaking to you. Blessing code 229 has now been released over your home. Before we continue, take a moment to like, comment, share, and subscribe so this message reaches more souls who need this divine alert. Lift this message higher so the ones mongering and confusion can find their clarity. Now, as this spiritual atmosphere opens, here is the message for those who feel led to support this mission. When a message like this reaches your home, it is not entertainment. It is intervention. When you support this mission, you are not giving to a channel. You are sowing into the rescue of souls who are about to miss their warning. Scripture says that those who refresh others will themselves be refreshed, and today that promise becomes your portion. I feel prompted to say this directly. I am inviting you, because heaven is stirring you. Let the same divine alert that touched your home tonight flow through you to touch someone else. Your support ignites the light that pushes back spiritual darkness in countless other homes. As you sow, may God release overflow, protection, and breakthrough into your atmosphere. Step into this blessing with authority. Use Super Thanks membership or the PayPal link in the description and move as one chosen to carry the light forward. My listening spirit, the veil between the seen and unseen continues to thin as Archangel Michael steps deeper into the very atmosphere you call home. This is no ordinary moment. What is approaching your house tonight is a divine recalibration that will expose something you have felt but never fully understood. You have sensed shifts in your environment, moments where the air felt dense, moments where silence felt too heavy, moments where you paused in your own hallway wondering why something felt off. These sensations were not your imagination. They were indicators that heaven took seriously long before you ever spoke a word. Michael has been watching over the patterns surrounding your nights. He has seen the moments where your sleep became disturbed at the same hour for reasons you could not explain. He has observed the sudden interruptions in your peace, the unexpected emotional spirals that came without warning, the tension that surfaced in your home when everything looked calm on the surface. These disturbances were not coincidence. They were spiritual signals. And tonight is the night the signals break. There is something powerful happening in the heavenly realm concerning your household. A divine decree has been released, declaring that the atmosphere around you must shift. This decree is why Michael has been trying to alert you. It is why he pressed this message into your hands. When heaven releases a decree, nothing in the earthly realm can silence it. Not confusion, not fear, not delay, and not the lingering spiritual residue that has been trying to hover around your home. Michael's presence tonight is not gentle, it is authoritative. He comes as the commander of angelic forces, not simply to comfort but to conquer. There has been a spiritual interference trying to attach itself to your space, a whispering thought, a draining heaviness, an emotional pressure that rises at the least expected moments. This interference has been feeding on your openness, trying to weaken you at the edges, trying to distract your spirit from rising. And yet, every attempt it made, heaven countered. You were never unguarded. You were never abandoned. You were never spiritually exposed. Tonight, the interference collapses. As a clock moves through the late hours, something will shift in your atmosphere. It may come as a sudden silence, as though the air settles into divine stillness. It may come as a single moment where the energy in your home clears so sharply that you feel your spirit breathing again. It may come as an internal awakening, a sudden realization that something has left. These are indicators of Michael's work. These are signs that what once held influence have been pushed out by divine authority. Michael wants you to understand the significance of timing. The alert that reached you through this message carries urgency because what is happening tonight is designed to redirect the trajectory of your spiritual journey. For months, you have been walking with a weight that was never yours. You have been fighting battles that were not sent to destroy you, but to distract you. You have been trying to remain strong while something unseen tugged quietly at your emotions, your clarity, your direction. This tug ends tonight. The clarity you lost is returning. The strength you misplaced is reawakening. The certainty you once carried is being restored. But there is another layer to this message, a deeper revelation. Michael is not simply cleansing your home. He is preparing you for an elevation. He is preparing your environment for something heaven had been wanting to deliver into your life. Some of you have felt a strange anticipation lately, a sense that something is coming but you could not explain what. That anticipation was not random. It was your spirit detecting movement in the heavenly realm. It was your inner knowing responding to Michael's alert before your mind could interpret it. Tonight marks the moment where the spiritual interference is removed so the divine instruction can finally reach you without distortion. There is something heaven wants to speak to you. There is something heaven wants to reveal. But revelation cannot rest in an atmosphere that is clouded. Michael is clearing the spiritual air so you can hear what God has been trying to tell you. You may notice that your thoughts become sharper tonight. You may feel a sudden urge to clean, rearrange, or shift something in your home. You may experience a moment of unexpected peace even if your day was chaotic. All of these are signs that your home is being prepared for divine visitation. And Michael stands guard over this transition, ensuring that nothing interrupts what heaven has ordained for you. This moment is not to be taken lightly. What happens tonight is part of your spiritual transformation. You are stepping out of an old cycle. You are entering a phase where divine clarity replaces confusion, where spiritual strength replaces heaviness, where revelation replaces silence. You are being positioned for something greater than you imagined. Stay attentive. The unfolding continues. The next revelation will show you exactly why Michael chose tonight and what heaven is preparing to release into your life. Before you move ahead, pause your spirit and feel the atmosphere shifting. You will sense the truth before you hear the next words. Type "I claim this" clearing in the comments if this speaks into your spirit. Lesson code 808 has now been activated over your home. My steady-hearted one, as you move deeper into this divine revelation, the atmosphere around your home continues to reorganize itself under heaven's command. What is preparing to unfold tonight is not just a cleansing or a shift, but a divine unveiling. Archangel Michael is drawing your attention to something you have sensed but never quite identified, something that has been lingering in the background of your life like a shadow that follows, but refuses to show its shape. Tonight, the unseen becomes visible. The unclear becomes undeniable. What has been affecting you silently will be confronted openly. For weeks, perhaps months, you have been feeling a strange disconnection. At times you felt emotionally drained for no apparent reason. At other times, your thoughts felt cluttered even when life around you was calm. You questioned yourself, wondering why peace seemed to slip away so quickly or why anxiety appeared without warning. You tried to push through, believing it was just stress or fatigue. But heaven saw what you could not see. This was not just emotional noise, it was spiritual interference. Michael has been standing guard, watching the patterns forming around your house at night. He has seen how certain thoughts tried to enter your mind when you were most vulnerable. He noticed how your sleep would break at moments of spiritual sensitivity. He observed how you would suddenly feel watched or unsettled in your own space, even though logic told you there was no reason to feel that way. These were not coincidences. They were signs of something that needed to be confronted by divine force. And tonight, Michael confronts it. There is an energy that has been refusing to leave on its own. Not an entity, not a presence with form, but a residue of something that attached itself to you in a season of emotional vulnerability. It may have come during a period of grief, heartbreak, fear, or confusion. It may have entered through an overwhelming experience or through contact with someone who carried their own spiritual burdens into your space. Whatever the source, this residue began feeding on your emotional openings. It did not come with power, but it tried to grow by draining yours. This is what Michael is alerting you about. You are not imagining the heaviness. You are not imagining the atmosphere shifts. You are not imagining the sudden tension that arises in your home for no reason. These sensations are spiritual indicators that something had been resisting divine order. And tonight is the night that resistance ends. As the hours move forward, there will be a moment, brief, but unmistakable, when the atmosphere in your house shifts dramatically. It might feel like a sudden stillness, as though something releases its grip. It may feel like a mild wave of warmth crossing your space. It may come as a deep exhale from your own spirit, a release you didn't realize you needed. For some, it may feel like clarity rushing into your mind at once. These are signs that heaven's cleansing has begun. Michael stands with his sword raised, but his intention is not to attack. It is to cut away what no longer belongs in your environment. He brings authority, not aggression. He brings truth, not fear. He brings alignment, not chaos. Everything he does tonight is for your protection and elevation. He wants you to understand that what has been trying to drain you cannot follow you into the next spiritual chapter of your life. There is something divine waiting to enter your home in the coming days, a blessing that has been withheld only because your atmosphere was not ready to receive it. This blessing carries clarity, direction, and emotional stability. It carries strength where you have felt weak and confidence where you have felt uncertain. But heaven never plants seeds in contaminated soil. Michael is preparing the soil of your home so the blessing can take root without obstruction. You may also notice that your intuition becomes sharper tonight. Old memories may rise to the surface for no reason. You may suddenly remember a moment or a person who left a lingering imprint on your spirit. This is Michael revealing to you the origin of what he is removing. Not to bring pain, but to bring clarity. Not to stir trauma, but to sever it completely. What you felt as heaviness was actually a spiritual echo of a past moment still clinging to your present. What you felt as confusion was a residue from someone else's emotional weight. What you felt as resistance was the shadow of an old season trying to remain where it no longer belonged. Tonight, that season is being cut off. Michael is clearing your atmosphere so thoroughly that what once drained you will no longer have access to your spirit. You will feel this shift in the coming days. You will feel lighter. You will think clear. You will breathe easier. Your home will feel like your home again. And your spirit will feel like your spirit again. Stay with this revelation. The next unfolding will reveal what heaven is preparing you for and why the cleansing had to happen now, not later. Before you move forward, pause and breathe. Let the shift settle into your awareness. Something holy is moving through your home tonight. Type "I embrace the cleansing" in the comments if this part resonates with your spirit. Blessing code 1313 has now been activated over your home. My spirit anchored one. As you step deeper into this unfolding revelation, the air around your home is shifting into a divine rhythm. Archangel Michael is not merely visiting. He is orchestrating a transformation that touches the unseen layers of your environment. What will happen in your house tonight is connected to a spiritual truth you have carried without realizing it. Your home has been standing between two seasons, one that has ended and one that heaven is now forcing to begin. This transition has created spiritual turbulence, which is why your emotions, your energy, and even your thoughts have felt unpredictable at times. Tonight, the turbulence settles. Tonight, divine order reclaims its place. Michael has been watching you move through days where you felt distant from yourself. There were moments when your mind wandered into places it did not normally go. Nights where your heart carried fears that did not belong to you. Hours where you felt surrounded by noise even in complete silence. These were signs that your atmosphere was holding fragments of old experiences, old energies, old wounds that you never had the chance to process fully. These fragments clung to your environment like dust caught in sunlight, visible only when light hits at a certain angle. Tonight, heaven shines that angle directly upon your home. Archangel Michael does not appear unless the assignment is both urgent and sacred. He recognizes that something has been trying to distort your inner compass. A subtle influence. A quiet disturbance. It was not strong enough to break you, but it was persistent enough to drain you slowly. It tried to dull your intuition, weaken your confidence, and cloud your discernment. It tried to make you question your steps and second-guess your path. It tried to keep you spiritually fatigued so you would not rise into the clarity heaven prepared for you. But tonight, this influence loses its grip. You may feel something within you loosening, as though your emotions begin to breathe again. You may experience a sudden moment of deep calm, a stillness that feels unfamiliar yet comforting. You may sense a shift in the air, not physically, but spiritually, like the atmosphere is expanding to make room for something holy. These are not illusions of your mind. These are confirmations of Michael's presence. Tonight, Michael is not warning you of danger. He is alerting you of transformation. A spiritual shift is about to sweep through your house within a span of minutes, and when it does, everything that has been resisting your growth will release its hold. This shift is subtle but powerful, quiet but undeniable. It may come as a thought that suddenly feels clear, a memory that suddenly loses its sting, a feeling of heaviness that suddenly lifts. These moments are the fingerprints of heaven at work. But understand this with depth. What is happening tonight is not just about removing what is wrong. It is also about preparing the space for what is right. Heaven cannot release clarity into a crowded atmosphere. Heaven cannot pour new oil into a vessel still holding remnants of yesterday's tears. Heaven cannot whisper instruction into a space filled with noise from seasons you have already outgrown. This is why the cleansing had to precede the revelation. God is resetting your environment so revelation can reach you without distortion. There is something that heaven has been wanting to speak over your life, but the message could not enter the atmosphere until the interference was removed. Expect spiritual sensitivity to heighten. Expect moments of sudden knowing. Expect your inner voice to become clearer in the days ahead. Tonight's shift is the beginning of an awakening within you, an activation of spiritual sight that had been muffled by emotional residue. Michael is preparing you to hear something. A direction, a reassurance, a warning, a promise. Heaven has not yet revealed which one, but it is coming, and your house needed to be cleansed to receive it. This is why the alert was urgent. This is why the timing is exact. This is why you felt drawn to this message with an intensity you could not explain. Your spirit recognized that heaven was preparing to speak. As the shift settles into your home, you may notice that certain places in your space feel lighter than others. Rooms that once felt dense may feel breathable. Corners that once held heaviness may feel cleared. Even your own footsteps may feel different, as though you are walking through a new atmosphere. All this is evidence that Michael has completed a portion of his assignment. But there is more he wants to reveal. Heaven is not only cleansing your house, it is positioning you for divine instruction. You are being placed on spiritual ground where old battles no longer have access, where old emotions no longer have authority, where old cycles no longer have influence. You are stepping into a purified spiritual environment, and what comes next will open your understanding even further. Do not drift away. Do not disconnect. What is coming next will show you why heaven chose your home, your night, and your spirit for this sacred intervention. I step into alignment in the comments if these words speak into your spirit. Blessing code 1919 has now been released over your home. My vigilant soul, as we move deeper into this divine unfolding, the spiritual atmosphere around you is entering its most sensitive phase. Archangel Michael continues to prepare your home for what is approaching tonight, and with each passing moment, another layer of truth rises to the surface. You are not simply hearing a message, you are being ushered into a revelation that will change how you understand the movements of heaven in your life. There is something important that Michael needs you to grasp before the shift completes. It is something you may have overlooked, something subtle yet deeply significant, something that has influenced the rhythms of your home far more than you realized. For a long time, your house has been carrying echoes of past seasons. These echoes cling to walls, to furniture, to familiar places where memories were born and tears have fallen. Some echoes were from joy and growth, but others carried the weight of heartbreak, disappointment, or difficult transitions. Even when you moved on, these emotional imprints remained in your environment, quietly affecting your energy and your daily flow. They became part of the spiritual climate around you. You felt the effects even when you could not identify the cause. There were days when motivation felt heavy, when clarity felt blurred, when your spirit felt distant from itself. You blamed stress, circumstances, or fatigue. But heaven saw the deeper truth. You were living in an atmosphere that needed divine renewal. Michael explains that your home is more spiritually alive than you think. It remembers, absorbs, it reacts. When your spirit changes, the atmosphere shifts. When emotional wounds form, the air thickens. When breakthroughs approach, the house becomes restless. And when heaven prepares to intervene, everything inside your environment begins to stir. Its stirring is what you have been feeling recently. It is the sign that the old energies are being pushed out to make room for what is coming next. Tonight, your house enters a sacred moment of spiritual exchange. Heaven will not simply cleanse, it will reassign, reorganize, and recalibrate your environment. The shift will feel like a reset, a gentle but undeniable shift that touches every corner of your space. You might experience it as a moment of sudden clarity, a feeling of lightness passing through the room, or an internal realization that everything suddenly feels more aligned. This moment is the divine act that Michael has been alerting you about. But he wants you to understand something deeper. What is happening tonight is not random. It is the result of a spiritual pattern that has been unfolding around you. When heaven notices a recurring interference in someone's home, when old energies refuse to release their grip, when subtle disturbances begin to affect clarity and emotional strength, Michael is dispatched with urgency. The alert is not just a warning, it is a declaration that heaven is taking action on your behalf. There were nights when a heaviness sat on your spirit without explanation. Moments when you walked into a room and felt suddenly unsettled. Times when your dreams felt chaotic or vivid in ways that left you drained. These were not indicators of weakness. They were symptoms of spiritual pressure building in your atmosphere. Pressure that needed to be broken by a divine presence. Michael is here tonight to break it. You may have also noticed patterns of emotional fluctuation. One day you felt aligned and hopeful, and the next you felt weighed down by emotions that did not feel like your own. This fluctuation was not failure, it was interference. Something was trying to cloud your clarity right at the moment heaven was preparing to elevate you. That is why the alert came now. That is why Michael stepped in with urgency. Your next spiritual step requires full clarity, and heaven refuses to let anything interfere with that. As tonight unfolds, expect your spirit to become more aware. Expect sudden insights to rise. Expect a new level of understanding to settle in your heart. You will begin to see connections you previously missed. You will begin to identify emotional weight that never belonged to you. You will begin to recognize what needs to stay and what needs to leave. Michael's presence sharpens spiritual discernment. When he moves, truth becomes impossible to ignore. This shift tonight is not only about cleansing your home. It is about preparing you to see what has been hidden behind the noise. Heaven is preparing to reveal direction. Heaven is preparing to reveal healing. Heaven is preparing to reveal purpose. But before revelation comes exposure, and before exposure comes cleansing. And that cleansing is what Michael has already begun within your atmosphere. In the coming days, you may feel compelled to rearrange certain things in your home, clean certain spaces, or remove objects that suddenly feel heavy or out of place. This is not coincidence. This is your spirit responding to the new alignment Michael is establishing. When the atmosphere shifts, the physical environment responds. Allow your intuition to guide you. You will know exactly what needs to go and what needs to stay. You will know exactly what aligns with your new spiritual season and what belonged to an old one. This part of the journey is sacred. This is the threshold you must cross before the full revelation comes. You are standing in a moment where heaven is touching your home in ways that will leave permanent spiritual imprints. Do not step away now. What comes next will reveal why all of this had to happen tonight, and why the timing could not be delayed. Hold steady. The unveiling continues. Type "I receive this awakening" in the comments if this message is speaking into your spirit. Lesson code 717 has now been released over your home. I rise in one. As we enter this next dimension of the revelation, the spiritual atmosphere around your home is reaching its peak of transformation. Archangel Michael stands fully present now, not at the doorway, not in the distance, but within the very heart of your environment. He is preparing you for the moment heaven has orchestrated with precision, the moment that will unfold in your house tonight. And what is coming is something your spirit has been waiting for far longer than your mind realizes. Michael wants you to see something clearly. The alert was not only about removing what has been draining you. It was about awakening what has been sleeping inside you. You have been living below your spiritual capacity for a while, not because you lack strength, but because the atmosphere around you has been holding pieces of an old season hostage. Tonight, those pieces are being released. Tonight, your spirit will breathe in a new clarity. There is something powerful about how your home responds to your emotional and spiritual states. It absorbs not just the moments you remember, but the ones you tried to forget, the ones you brushed aside, the ones you survived without fully healing. These unhealed layers linger in the air like quiet shadows, influencing your days in subtle ways. They make simple tasks feel heavy. They dull your motivation. They cloud the part of your spirit that reaches for higher things. Michael has been watching these layers press against your clarity, and tonight, he tears them away one by one. But there is a deeper truth he wants you to understand. Heaven has been preparing a revelation for you that requires spiritual purity and mental stillness. This revelation cannot enter a space filled with emotional noise or spiritual residue. It cannot flow through an atmosphere that carries the weight of past seasons. It cannot rest inside a home where old grief still echoes. This is why the cleansing is happening tonight. Heaven is clearing the runway for divine instruction to land. You may begin to feel a tension rising in your spirit, not a negative tension, but an anticipatory one. It feels like something is approaching, something growing near, something pressing against the veil between this realm and the next. That sensation is accurate. Heaven is shifting closer. Michael is aligning your atmosphere with divine timing because the moment of visitation is near. Tonight, within minutes, a spiritual opening will occur in your home. A moment where clarity, peace, and divine communication become amplified. You may notice the air feel lighter. You may sense a sudden emotional release. You may find yourself taking a deeper breath without intending to. For some, a memory will surface, not to wound you, but to free you. For others, an insight will appear out of nowhere. For others still, a feeling of divine nearness will pass through the room like a soft current. These are the signs of heaven's hand touching your house. Michael wants you to pay attention to these moments. They are not coincidences. They are not imagination. They are not fleeting sensations. They are confirmations that heaven is preparing you for something greater. Something you prayed for. Something you waited for. Something you quietly hoped would reach you before another season passed. But there is more. Michael reveals that there has been a spiritual blockage affecting your progress. Something that stood between you and the breakthroughs waiting with your name on them. Something that clouded opportunities, delayed answers, and muddled intuition. It was not strong enough to destroy your destiny, but strong enough to slow your steps. The blockage dissolves tonight. Once the cleansing completes, your spirit will begin to attract what was once repelled. Doors that seemed stuck will begin to shift. Ideas that once felt foggy will become sharp. Emotional heaviness will fall away like dust shaken from old cloth. Your home is becoming a sanctuary again. A place where your spirit can grow instead of shrink. A place where you will not merely rest but receive. A place where peace is not temporary but anchored. You will look around in the coming days and sense a difference that you may not fully describe, yet you will know. Something sacred has passed through here. Something holy has touched these walls. Something divine has written the atmosphere. This is why you were told to be prepared. This is why heaven sent Michael with urgency. This is why your spirit felt drawn to this message as if it already knew the truth waiting inside it. You are not stepping into a normal night. You are stepping into a supernatural alignment. Heaven is closer to your home than it has ever been, and the next revelation will explain what will be released into your life once the cleansing completes. Do not drift away now. The greatest unveiling is still coming. Type "I prepare my home" in the comments if this message is resonating with your spirit. Lesson code 4040 has now been released over your home. Before we continue, take a moment to like, comment, share, and subscribe so this message reaches every soul who needs this divine alert. Spread this message as an act of spiritual warfare. Someone's home might be waiting for the breakthrough you just stepped into. When a divine alert enters your home, it does not come without purpose. If this message has touched your spirit, then you already know heaven is moving through it. When you support this mission, you help carry the same light into the homes of others who are still sitting in spiritual darkness. Scripture declares that those who sow into the work of God will stand under an open heaven, and that promise is alive right now. I feel prompted to speak this clearly. I am inviting you to step into this moment with action, not hesitation. Your support becomes a seed of deliverance for someone who might never hear this warning without you. As you sow, may the oil of protection flow over your home with greater strength, and may breakthrough rise from every direction. Move boldly. Use Super Thanks membership with a PayPal link in the description, and let heaven see your obedience. My steadfast soul, as we journey further into this divine revelation, you are now standing in the threshold of the most profound spiritual shift your home has experienced in a long time. Archangel Michael is not only cleansing the atmosphere, he is preparing to uncover a truth that has been hidden beneath layers of emotion, memory, and spiritual weight. The alert that brought you here is reaching its deeper meaning, and Michael wants your spirit fully attentive. Tonight, something long concealed will rise into the light, not to frighten you, but to free you. You have felt for some time that something in your home did not feel quite right. Even on peaceful days, there was an undercurrent of tension that did not match the reality of your surroundings. Nights carried a strange heaviness, a subtle shift in the air that you sensed but could not explain. Your intuition picked up on a disturbance, but your mind brushed it aside because there was no visible cause. This is exactly why heaven stepped in. Michael saw that your spirit was trying to alert you long before your understanding caught up. He saw the invisible pressure building around your home, and tonight he breaks the silence. There is an emotional imprint in your environment that was never meant to linger this long. It came from a moment when your heart was overwhelmed, perhaps a loss, an argument, a disappointment, a betrayal, or a season when you carried far more than your spirit could hold. You moved forward from that moment, but the atmosphere did not. It held on to the residue of your pain, your fear, your uncertainty. And even when you healed, the echo remained. This echo has been influencing your peace, interrupting your clarity, and draining your energy without your awareness. Tonight, Archangel Michael confronts that echo. Heaven is revealing that a part of your home has been carrying the emotional weight of a version of you that no longer exists. That weight has been slowing your spiritual progress and intruding on the calm you deserve. Every time you tried to elevate, that lingering residue tried to pull you backward. Every time you reached for clarity, it whispered confusion. Every time you tried to stand in your purpose, it echoed old fears. This residue was not your weakness. It was your past trying to hold on. Michael is here to break that connection permanently. As the night unfolds, there will be a moment, brief, quiet, but powerful, when you feel something release within you. You may not see it with your eyes, but your spirit will know. It may feel like your breathing deepens. It may feel like a burden lifts off your shoulders. It may feel like your mind clears suddenly. It may even feel like the atmosphere in your home expands, as though a door you didn't know existed has finally opened. This moment is the evidence of Archangel Michael cutting the last tie between your spirit and the residue of your old season. Heaven wants you to know this. Nothing from your past has permission to follow you into your future. Not fear, not emotional heaviness, not spiritual interference, not confusion. The cleansing happening tonight is not only about your home, it is about your destiny. Heaven is preparing to reveal something that requires your full spiritual clarity, something that requires your heart to be free, something that requires your home to be a sanctuary again, not a storage place for old wounds. In the coming days, you will notice your thoughts becoming sharper. Your decisions will feel easier. Your emotions will feel more grounded. You will sense peace settling into your environment like a quiet morning after a long storm. You may even realize that certain habits, patterns, or emotional reactions have suddenly lost their hold. These changes are not random. They are the result of the spiritual release happening tonight. Michael also wants you to understand that this moment is not the climax of the revelation, it is the preparation. Heaven is moving closer to revealing what comes after this cleansing, and it is something your spirit has needed for a long time. You are stepping into a season where spiritual interference loses access to your mind, where emotional turbulence no longer dictates your days, where old wounds no longer speak louder than divine truth. This season begins tonight. You may feel a subtle pull within your spirit, as though you are being drawn into a deeper awareness. That is exactly what is happening. Heaven is elevating your spiritual sensitivity so you can recognize what is coming. Do not resist this shift. Do not question the sudden alignment. Allow your spirit to rise with the atmosphere around you. Michael is guiding your steps carefully, ensuring that nothing distracts you from the revelation that is about to unfold. Stay grounded in this moment. You are not simply listening to words, you are experiencing a spiritual unlocking. The next revelation will show you exactly why heaven chose this night and this moment to intervene. You are on the edge of understanding something that will reshape how you see your home, your spirit, and your journey. Hold steady. The unveiling deepens from here. Type "I receive this" clearing in the comments if your spirit feels this message. Lesson code 3003 has now been activated over your home. My illuminated one, as you step even deeper into this unfolding revelation, your spirit is entering the space of understanding that heaven has been guiding you toward from the beginning. Tonight is not merely a cleansing of your home. It is a moment of divine repositioning. Archangel Michael stands with full authority, watching over the atmosphere that surrounds you. His alert was not meant to alarm your heart, but to awaken your discernment. What will happen in your house tonight is a direct response to spiritual forces that have attempted to interfere with your growth, your clarity, and your alignment. But more importantly, it is a preparation for what heaven is preparing to place into your hands. You have been sensing a change coming, even if you could not explain it. There has been a quiet stirring inside your spirit, a feeling that something is shifting beneath the surface of your everyday life. At moments you felt unusually attentive. At other times you felt a strange intensity in your emotions. These were signals that heaven was drawing closer. Your spirit felt the movement before your understanding caught up. This is why you could not scroll past this message, why the title called out to you with urgency. Your soul recognized the sound of divine intervention. Michael wants you to know that tonight's shift is not isolated. It is connected to a much larger spiritual cycle in your life. You have been walking through a season where things felt delayed, slowed down, or strangely obstructed. Plans that should have flowed smoothly became frustrating. Ideas that once felt clear became cluttered. Even your prayers felt at times like they were reaching through dense spiritual air. It was not because heaven was silent. It was because something in your atmosphere was resisting the divine momentum assigned to your life. This resistance was subtle but persistent. It came in the form of emotional heaviness that appeared without warning. It came in restless nights where your mind would not quiet. It came in moments of doubt that felt foreign, as though they did not belong to you. This, Michael reveals, was a residue of an old season trying to maintain influence. But tonight, the resistance loses its rights. Tonight, the atmosphere shifts permanently. As this divine moment begins, you may feel your spirit becoming unusually alert. You may sense a change in the room you are sitting in, a stillness, a pressure release, a strange peace rising like morning light. This is the evidence that heaven is touching your home. When Michael steps into an atmosphere, the air itself responds. The spiritual weight lifts. The emotional fog begins to burn away. The mind becomes sharper in unexpected ways. You may even find old worries suddenly losing their grip on your thoughts. This is not coincidence. It is transformation. But Michael reveals something more profound. Tonight, your home is being sealed. Not just cleansed, not just cleared, but sealed with divine authority. This means that what once had access will no longer have the ability to enter. What once hovered at the edges of your peace will no longer be permitted to linger. What once whispered doubt will no longer be able to speak. The spiritual boundaries around your home are being reinforced by heaven itself. Archangel Michael is establishing a perimeter of protection around your atmosphere that will last far beyond this night. As this sealing happens, expect a shift in your internal landscape. You will begin to feel a new stability forming within you. Your emotions will begin to settle in ways they have not settled for months, perhaps even years. Your inner voice will become stronger, clearer, more decisive. You will start to feel your identity recalibrate, not based on your past, not based on your fear, but based on heaven's intention for your life. Michael also reveals that your spirit has been carrying something it was never meant to carry alone. A weight, a responsibility, a silent burden that you hid from others because you did not want to seem weak. Heaven is addressing that burden tonight. Your home will become a space where your spirit can rest again. No more waking up drained. No more feeling overwhelmed for no reason. No more carrying emotional echoes that do not belong to you. Tonight, the release begins. But the most important truth is this: heaven is preparing to speak. The cleansing was necessary. The sealing was essential. But the revelation that comes next is the true purpose of this divine alert. God has been waiting to reveal something to you. Something about your purpose, something about your path, something about the next chapter of your life. This message will not come through chaos or confusion. It will come through stillness. And that stillness is being established tonight. You may begin to notice that certain thoughts feel highlighted, as though heaven is drawing your attention toward them. You may feel a sudden urge to let go of things that no longer serve your spirit. You may sense a new direction forming inside you. All of these are signs that you are entering the revelation phase of this divine intervention. Hold your spirit steady. What comes next will not just cleanse your environment. It will clarify your destiny. Type "I receive this" sealing in the comments if your spirit feels the truth of this moment. Blessing code 909 has now been activated over your home. My awakening spirit, as you move into this next revelation, your entire atmosphere has begun to shift into a state of divine readiness. The cleansing has taken place. The sealing has begun. And now Archangel Michael is drawing you into the deepest truth behind the alert that heaven sent to you. What will happen in your house tonight is not only a purification, it is an activation, a spiritual ignition that positions you for what heaven has been preparing in secret. Michael wants you prepared not just for a moment, but for a transformation. Tonight marks the turning of a spiritual page in your life. You have been walking through a chapter filled with resistance, confusion, emotional burdens, and subtle spiritual interference. It felt at times like you were holding your breath, waiting for clarity that never fully arrived. Even when you had moments of peace, they felt fragile, easily shaken by the slightest disruption. Heaven witnessed this, and heaven intervened. But the intervention is not only for protection. It is also for awakening. Michael reveals that you are entering a season where divine instruction will become clearer, louder, and more direct than it has been before. But before instruction can flow, the interference had to be removed. This is why your home was targeted for cleansing. This is why the alert reached you with urgency. Heaven has something to give you, and your atmosphere needed to be prepared to receive it without distortion. Tonight is the night your spiritual hearing sharpens. You may begin to sense a strange internal shift as you reflect on the past hours or even days. Certain worries no longer feel as heavy. Certain fears feel weaker. Certain thoughts that once troubled you now seem powerless. This is the evidence of Michael's work. The connection between your spirit and the residue of past battles has been severed. The weight that lingered in your environment no longer has spiritual permission to remain. Heaven has reclaimed your space, and now heaven is preparing to reveal purpose. Michael wants you to recognize something vital. You are stepping into a period where your internal guidance will be heightened. That sudden clarity you feel is not accidental. It is intentional. That inner calm rising within you is not temporary. It is foundational. Heaven is fortifying your inner spirit so you can handle the revelation that is coming. The instruction that will follow this night is not ordinary. It will require spiritual steadiness. It will require emotional maturity. It will require discernment that is sharpened by divine alignment. The interference that once clouded your understanding is gone, and your spirit is now capable of receiving direction with pure sensitivity. Tonight, as the spiritual atmosphere heightens, you may experience brief moments of unexpected insight, thoughts that feel illuminated, ideas that feel divinely inspired, a sense that something new is approaching you. These are whispers of the revelation forming above your life. Heaven often prepares the spirit before it delivers the message. Your spirit is already beginning to respond to what has not yet fully arrived. Michael also reveals that your home will no longer be a place of spiritual vulnerability. Instead, it becomes a place of spiritual authority. For too long you tolerated atmospheres that drained you, emotions that overwhelmed you, and thoughts that disrupted your peace. Tonight marks the shift where your environment becomes a space of empowerment rather than exhaustion. You will feel safer within your own spirit. You will feel more grounded. You will feel more present. That is because the spiritual boundaries have been redrawn by heaven. But you must also understand this. The next phase of this divine alert is about revelation. What will be revealed to you may come in subtle forms at first. A thought that repeats itself. A sense of direction that becomes stronger each day. The feeling that you need to release something or embrace something new. Heaven rarely shouts, it guides through alignment. And tonight's cleansing was the realignment needed for you to hear the next instruction clearly. You may even notice that your dreams become more vivid, symbolic, or purposeful in the coming nights. This is a sign that heaven is using your rest to prepare you. Your mind is no longer weighed down by spiritual clutter, so your dream space becomes a canvas for divine communication. Pay attention to any dream that leaves you with a strong emotion or a clear impression. Michael is preparing you to receive guidance in multiple forms. As the night progresses, your spirit will enter a deeper stillness. A stillness that almost feels like the world around you has paused. That feeling is not emptiness, it is spiritual readiness. Heaven often speaks when the atmosphere is still, when the heart is quiet, when the noise of the past has finally been silenced. Tonight, heaven brings that silence to you not as an absence, but as an invitation. Michael wants you to know that what comes next will not be chaotic. It will not be overwhelming. It will not be confusing. It will unfold with grace, with precision, and with timing that only heaven can orchestrate. Your responsibility is simple. Stay open. Stay aware, and stay aligned. The alert was not meant to frighten you, but to prepare you for something bigger than the cleansing itself. You are approaching a revelation that will shift your path. You are on the edge of understanding why this cleansing had to happen now, not later. You are stepping into clarity that has been waiting for you. Hold your spirit steady. The next part of this message will bring you into the very heart of the revelation Michael has been preparing you for. Type "I am ready for the revelation" in the comments if your spirit feels aligned. Blessing code 1001 has now been released over your home. My destined one, this is the moment your spirit has been moving toward since the very first word of this message. Everything that Archangel Michael has been doing, every cleansing, every shift, every unveiling, has been leading you to this final revelation. Tonight is not simply a night of spiritual movement. It is a night of divine alignment. What will happen in your house tonight is the culmination of everything heaven has been trying to position you for. You have reached the threshold where clarity meets purpose, where peace meets awakening, where your past releases its grip and your future begins to breathe. Michael stands in full authority now. His presence is no longer working in the background of your atmosphere. He stands in the center of your spiritual space, watching over you with the precision of heaven's highest warrior. And with that authority, he reveals the truth behind the alert that drew you here. Heaven has chosen you for a season of accelerated spiritual elevation. And your home had to be cleansed because your spirit is about to receive something far greater than you have ever carried before. This revelation is not a warning. It is a calling. For a long time, you have been walking with questions that sat quietly inside your heart. Questions about direction, about purpose, about why certain experiences unfolded the way they did. You have been sensing that life was preparing you for something, though you could not name it. You have felt transitions forming around you, but the path ahead looked foggy. You wondered why clarity seemed close, but kept slipping away. Michael wants you to understand now. It was not slipping away. Your atmosphere simply was not ready to hold the clarity heaven intended to give. Tonight, that changes. The cleansing you felt, the stillness that has begun to settle, the lifting of weight from your spirit. These were not the final act. They were preparation. Heaven has been clearing your environment so that you can finally receive the instruction, the insight, and the spiritual awakening that has been waiting at the edge of your destiny. Everything that once blocked your hearing, everything that dulled your intuition, everything that interfered with your peace has been removed so you can receive the fullness of divine guidance. Michael reveals the final truth of this alert. You are entering a season where heaven will speak to you more clearly than it has in years. In the days following this night, expect your inner knowing to rise with unusual strength. Expect moments of sudden clarity that feel like answers you've been waiting for. Expect emotional strength where there used to be fear. Expect new ideas, new insights, and new spiritual sensitivity. You may feel called to make changes, to release certain connections, to step into new opportunities. This is heaven guiding you through your newly cleared spiritual atmosphere. Michael also wants you to understand that your home is now marked. Not marked by fear, not marked by heaviness, marked by divine protection, marked by angelic authority, marked by heaven's seal. What once tried to enter will no longer have power. What once tried to drain you will no longer have access. Your home has become a sanctuary of clarity, a space where divine revelation can rest without interference. But the greatest revelation of tonight is this: heaven is entrusting you with spiritual responsibility. Not a burden, not a weight, a calling. The cleansing of your home was not only for comfort, it was for empowerment. You are being positioned as a carrier of light within your environment, within your relationships, within your journey. You are being aligned with higher purpose because heaven sees readiness in you that you have not yet seen in yourself. This calling will not overwhelm you. It will awaken you. It will not exhaust you. It will elevate you. Tonight marks the moment where your past loses authority over your future, where old emotional echoes fall silent, where spiritual interference ends, where your spirit rises above the noise that once clouded your discernment. You are stepping into divine clarity, into divine purpose, into divine identity. Michael's final message to you is this: when the atmosphere shifts in your home tonight, do not fear it. Welcome it. When clarity rises inside you, do not resist it. Follow it. When heaven begins to speak, do not doubt it. Receive it. You are not who you were when this message began. Your spirit has crossed a threshold. Your home has crossed a threshold. Your destiny is unfolding in real time. This is the revelation behind the alert. This is why heaven called you. This is why you could not ignore the message that found you. You were chosen for this moment. And now your spirit steps into alignment with your future. Type "I receive my divine alignment" in the comments if this message has awakened something deep within you. Blessing code 7777 is now released over your home and your destiny. Before we close this journey, take a moment to like, comment, share, subscribe, and amplify this message so it reaches the souls who are still wandering in silence, unaware that heaven is trying to reach them too. Lift this message high. When a night like this touches your home, it is not an ordinary moment. It is heaven opening a window and pouring revelation into your atmosphere. If this message has spoken to your spirit, I invite you into a divine act of support, not for a channel, but for the souls waiting for the same breakthrough you just received. Scripture declares that those who partner with the work of light become carriers of that very light. Hear this in the first person. I am inviting you because heaven is stirring your heart to move. Let your giving become a seed that travels into homes where confusion still reigns and fear still whispers. As you sow, may clarity, protection, and abundance overflow into your life with supernatural force. Step boldly into this moment. You super thanks, membership, with the PayPal link in the description, and let heaven witness your obedience.